Coming up, scientists say love is in the air, and now they may even be able to bottle it. Romeo and Juliet had it, so did Bogey and Bacall. What suddenly draws two people together with the force of lightning? Now, scientists think they know. And as Edie Magnus reports, the race is on to market what some people claim is a love potion for the 90s. Edie?
Well, Connie, whether or not that turns out to be true, scientists are already excited about the possible discovery of nothing less than a sixth sense, one that could finally explain that inexplicable attraction.
Oh, yeah.
What is this thing called love? In the world of animals and insects, it's strictly chemical. Instead of sending valentines, they send pheromones, airborne chemicals that carry messages from one member of a species to another. Messages of sexual readiness, and other things too. Pheromones communicate warnings, work orders, where to find food. These little piggies, for instance, she can detect the pheromones he's sending through a tiny organ in her nose called the vomeronasal organ, or VNO. When she takes them in, that turns her on.
We fell in love the day we met.
Now there's some tantalizing evidence that what we call good chemistry may be our response to pheromones, human pheromones, invisible chemicals hanging around our bodies all the time. It's an idea that until recently was thought all but impossible. People aren't affected by pheromones, most experts thought. We are thinking creatures. We communicate with language. What's more, they thought evolution had all but erased in humans that special sense organ that other animals use to detect pheromones. That's what they thought until they looked.
Because it's obvious. It's there. Everybody's got one.
In the early 1980s, Dr. David Morand and a colleague from the University of Pennsylvania started peering up people's noses.
What we found was a hole in the nose, and the hole in the nose was hooked up with an organ which corresponds to the VNO, or vomeronasal organ, in mammals.
There it was, a tiny pit full of possibilities.
I think it could mean that we're talking to each other chemically in all sorts of ways that we understand but don't know that we understand, if you know what I mean. It means that we're communicating at a very unconscious level.
And now, scientists at the University of Utah say they have evidence showing how this unconscious communication between the sexes works, how pheromones might change the way we feel. Neurophysiologist Luis Monti demonstrated, hooking up research subject Mike Totsky to electrodes.
Here we have several channels of information.
He sends 3 different substances right into Mike's vomeronasal organ.
So this is a pulse on channel 1.
One's a placebo, a puff of plain air. And afterward, nothing much happens to Mike. No measurable reaction.
Channel 2.
Another puff contains what's described as a human pheromone, an odorless natural substance which comes from the skin cells of men. And once again, no changes. But when Mike gets a puff of a pheromone derived from women, he starts breathing more slowly and more deeply.
In and out. In and out. And you can see that here is very dramatic.
The alpha waves in his brain increase.
It makes the person feel more comfortable.
Does Mike know consciously
No,
that he's
he doesn't.
experiencing these changes?
Probably he doesn't. He doesn't, because all these are involuntary responses of the body.
I notice I will take a deep breath and kind of melt to the bed here, you know.
Who could resist that? I asked Dr. Monti to do the same experiment on me.
Everything okay?
Yeah, it's fine.
The same 3 puffs, but in an order unknown to me.
Debbie, let's go to 11.
And sure enough, during one of them, I felt something. Hard to describe, but nice.
Now, am I allowed to make a guess?
Sure.
It was the substance you referred to as 11, right?
Jeez. Well,
Is that right?
there you are.
You tell me.
Yes, you're
Is that
right.
right?
You're absolutely
I knew
right.
it.
It happened after I received a pheromone derived from men.
Lightheaded, but not exactly lightheaded, like not dizzy.
What's it all mean? Perhaps that pheromones send a signal through this long-neglected organ, the VNO, directly to our brain, to the part called the hypothalamus, which controls such things as relaxation, fear, appetite, and sexual desire.
We're looking now, in my opinion, at a sixth sense.
Bernard Grosser is a psychiatrist at the University of Utah Medical Center and a member of the pheromone team.
You can't smell them, hear them, taste them, feel them, touch them, or whatever. Yet we know they do something, and in very tiny amounts and very quickly.
But isn't it possible that our intellect could override whatever chemical messages we might be sending to each other?
They, at times, will override depending upon the individual. On the other hand, you shouldn't underestimate these other kinds of messages that are going to be sent.
And don't underestimate what else pheromones can do: make their discoverers some money. 2 feel-good compounds, one for men, one for women, have been synthesized and patented and are now being sold in a fragrance, Realm, selling for $59 a bottle. Even the University of Utah, in exchange for lab space, has shares in the company selling Realm. It's called Aerox, founded by scientist-turned-entrepreneur David Berliner, who hopes the reaction to the product will be chemical.
That is the answer.
Of course, pheromones are no stranger to the multi-billion-dollar fragrance industry.
There are several fragrances that contain musk.
But sadly, if you wear a scent made with musk, a pheromone from a muskrat, for example, you're only guaranteed to arouse the interest of another muskrat. So, will Realm arouse the interest of another human? Is it a love potion?
We have not found an aphrodisiac.
So what is it?
What the pheromone does is basically improves our sense of well-being.
I didn't want to have sex. I was non-orgasmic. I had no
But
feelings.
51-year-old Leslie May says she has found a love potion called Athena 1013, another product said to contain a human pheromone. As part of a survey, Leslie added the substance to her own perfume, dabbed it under her nose, and kept a diary for 6 weeks.
I feel fantastic. I really do. It's come back. It's like my old Chevy got jump-started, so I'm back. I'm sexual, and I'm feeling very good, yeah.
Athena 1013 was developed by biologist Winifred Cutler, who claims to have discovered a human pheromone, she calls it DHEA, and says it's found in human sweat, that actually does promote sexual attractiveness.
So if I put this on, are men going to start jumping all over me?
I don't know what will happen if you put it on. You're welcome to try it and make the judgment yourself. I can tell you that if we take 100 women who put it on, 70 out of those 100 are likely to say, this is wonderful.
I have a feeling that now it's working more on him because he's much more romantic and much more after me than he's been in a long time.
Leslie's fiance, John Perry.
Pheromone, schmeromone, I don't know the pheromone. All I know is the behavior is more sexual.
How do you know it's not the power of suggestion?
Because we tried every single thing for the last 2.5 years. So I have to believe something happened out of that bottle.
Whatever's in that bottle, Cutler hasn't yet offered any hard evidence to support its claims.
How did you find whatever the secret ingredient is?
The ingredient formula is a trade secret.
Are there real, reproducible scientific studies that say that DHEA is the pheromone which is responsible for these changes in the women who you studied?
I can't answer that because the answer to that question is built into my patent application.
Women are being asked if they want to buy this, to pay $95. Mm-hmm. And we have only at this point your word that there is solid science behind it.
Yes, you do. That's right.
Whether it's really possible to bottle human chemistry is still anyone's guess. And you might wonder, why should we have to pay for pheromones when animals have been enjoying them for years for free?
Yeah, why should we have to pay for them? There is more at stake here than just perfume, isn't there?
Absolutely, Connie. The Utah scientists are already experimenting to see if they can chemically influence all kinds of aspects of human behavior, including stress, appetite, even birth control. That's if they're right about how this little organ in our nose works.
Thank you, Edie. We'll be back.